don't think so, because any cricketer who plays for himself may not get runs all the times, and his runs have actually helped Australia to reach 260. Had he been dismissed earlier, I think Australia wouldn't even have reached 150. So you have to give him his full credit. He's been around to be done, and he ensured that there was the score of 250 on the board. That is what he was looking at, but I wish they had accelerated it a little in the end. But once you start losing wickets, it's very difficult for the new batsman to come in and just log on a wicket where the ball doesn't come onto the bat. Johnson tried, Hayden did try early on, and later on Clark was trying to do that, and he lost his wicket. So it is not easy when there are fewer deliveries left, and you have a very difficult task of going and hitting just the bowler out of the attack. I don't think so. I think Ricky played a very good innings.
Indeed. I mean, this 100 has got to count for something for the team. The question was, with 7 players, 7 batsmen still to go, did they get enough deliveries? And yes, perhaps the wicket was perhaps just a little too tricky today. But towards the end, Mr. Khanna,
yeah. To add to what John said very rightly, all credit to Zahir Khan and Ashwin and Harbhajan also. When they bowled in that power play in the end, when a batsman is batting on 90 odd, I think they bowled like champion. They didn't allow them to really slog them.
Indeed.
Fine with David Hussey, he put up that 55 runs in those last 8-9 overs, that partnership. But Zahir Khan bowled once again with that control, and Ashwin and Harbhajan, other bowlers, complimented from the other end very well. And our fielders also today, for a change, were diving around and stopping those runs, not conceding two very easily. So it was, I think, very good work from our fielders and bowlers as well,
Well, indeed,
which didn't allow Ponting to really go for those big shots,
Yeah, what they were saying before this match is that the fielding of Australia was better than India's fielding in the run-up to this match. But if you take a look at this match and some of the athletic saves, there was one time where you had Virat Kohli, in one motion he picked up the ball, then he hit the stumps, he almost got a run out. When you see that type of athleticism from the Indian fielders, that has got to be a confidence boost. India's batting very strong, the bowling a little circumspect, the fielding a little circumspect till this match. This match, as you said, the bowlers perhaps outperformed expectations, the fielders outperformed expectations, and led by this one man, Zahir Khan. 2 wickets for 53 today. A little expensive towards the end, but those 2 wickets very critical. Mr. Amarnath, your assessment of Zahir's performance in the World Cup so far?
I think he's been a pick of the bowler. There's no doubt about it. He's been amongst the bowler on whom the captain can rely, and whenever he comes back in a second spell, we've always seen he looks for a wicket and he gets that breakthrough, which is so important, because if you do not get a breakthrough in somewhere around 40 odd overs when it's been bowled, it is very difficult to stop the batsman from flowing, and to put a break to that flow of runs, you need to pick up wicket, and Zahir Khan has been doing it rather consistently.
Correct.
And that has been the reason even today why Australia could not put beyond 260.
Well, indeed, there's a psychological issue of the man in form, and including, you mentioned that every match picking up a couple of wickets. Sometimes bowlers are unlucky, but the way he varies his line and length, the swing. If you take a look at that ball that got Mike Hussey out today, a brilliant ball. Hussey averages, remember, 53 a game. He was just about getting going, and perhaps in the most brilliant ball bowled by the Indian bowlers, Mike Hussey was clean bowled thanks to Zahir Khan. Of course, Yuvraj Singh picked up a couple of wickets. Interestingly, Dhoni also tried Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli in the attack today, primarily because Munaf Patel has been struggling a little bit. Mr. Khanna, Munaf Patel and perhaps his inclusion for the next match, the semi-finals against Pakistan, do you think he'll play again for India?
Well, it depends on Mohali. If there is something in the wicket, normally it is there. Some bounce and movement for the seamers, he can be effective on that. But a wicket docile like this, so slow, Munaf will be struggling, or anyone of his kind will be struggling, and wasn't a great choice being played here. We said that earlier also, Shrikant is there, who bowls at a pace of 135 plus, could be an option if Nehra is not fit. Or they could have gone with Yusuf Pathan and tried his off break as well when the wicket was turning and it was slow, and you have a man who can score some runs as well and not concede two very easily from the outfield. So it's for the captain and the coach to decide for the next match. But definitely people like to go with the same combination which wins them such a great match. Well, someone or the other does struggle. But Munaf will be effective where there is some help from the wicket, because he doesn't bowl at a pace at international level where you can hurry the batsman. from playing those big hits,
Indeed.
and he hasn't given that confidence so far in the World Cup.
Yeah, 7 overs, 44 runs was what Munaf Patel was hit, including a couple of boundaries very early in the power play when Brad hadn't got going. Fortunately, the other bowlers contributed to keep that score under check. And perhaps Australia would not have reached a score of 260 unless their gamble today, David Hussey, who came in very late into the innings, Mr. Amarnath, 38 runs off just 26 balls to give that Australian total some respectability.
Well, you definitely needed somebody to come and hit the Indian bowlers out of the attack, and he did not slog. The best thing about his batting was he never slogged. He played very orthodox cricket, looked for those deliveries on which he can attack, and he attacked them rather consistently and successfully. 146 is the strike rate, and that is not easy to get at the time when it's so difficult to get those spinners away. But full credit to him. And as Suri was saying, you have to give credit to the Indian bowlers to keep them quiet for such a long time. And it was a contest, I think, which everybody enjoyed. The bowlers enjoyed, the batsmen who were batting well enjoyed, the fielders enjoyed because they had to do a lot of running around, a lot of diving around, pick up those chances. And the best thing about this match it's been played in a very good spirit.
Okay, well, that was really well put. Today we saw solid batting from both teams, very good bowling for the most part from both teams, and also good fielding from both teams. We have a lot more to analyze in this match, including the fall of wickets and analysis of that Indian innings where Sachin Tendulkar picked up a 50. But right on the other side of the short break here on How's That? Welcome back. Big day in World Cup cricket. The pre-tournament favourites and the host India taking on a high-pressure match against three-time world champions Australia. Australia had crumbled against Pakistan, but they were expected to find that reserve that allows them to win again and again. They came out against India, put up 260 runs on the board. Ricky Ponting had a century, but not enough. The Indians responded, romped home with 5 wickets to spare. We were talking a little earlier about the bowling of India that perhaps performed above expectations. A couple of wickets for the key bowlers. Yuvraj Singh also a couple of wickets. Let's take a look at the fall of wickets for the Australian innings and analyze some of the deliveries that got some of their key players out. Remember, the first wicket, 40 runs were on the board when Shane Watson missed this delivery from Ashwin. And a little later, some of the wickets started falling
that
quickly.
was a great catch, in the covers. Yuvraj deceiving Brad Haddin, the man set. Clark played a bad shot, trying to hit against the break. A good catch by Zair Khan and a slow delivery, like Zair Khan deceived Smith in the last game against West Indies when the man was set, and he deceived Mr. Cricket as well. And a bad shot from Ponting once again. All credit to Ashwin for deceiving the man who's batting on 104, not allowing him to hit over the top. In the end, probably final analysis from him, starting the bowling in the power play and not conceding too many against the best of batsmen who are in form.
2 for 52. Remember, he bowled critical overs towards the end, kept the batsmen contained. Zahir Khan, 2 for 53. Indeed, the pick
he was
of
the champion. When they could have really exploded, he picked up Mr. Cricket and Cameron White. That brilliant cotton ball coming round the wicket, getting the ball to move a bit away, and it was a very good catch on the run. It's not very easy when you're really putting in all the effort and in the follow through, and a drive comes to you. Fantastic dismissal, and he was the champion bowler. He's using all his experience, bringing all the slow deliveries at the right time and the yorkers when the batsmen are well set in the power play, and doesn't allow the opposition. Very mean customer, I would say. One of the finest in the tournament. Indeed,
Zahir Khan would be perhaps in the all-tournament 11. You have strong pacers in Dale Steyn-Morkel for South Africa. You've seen the pace trio of Australia, but surely the way Zahir has performed, he's been the rock of the Indian bowling. Really nice to see Ashwin also contributing, justifying his place in the team. Yuvraj Singh, of course, somehow he manages to pick up a couple of wickets. But Mr. Amarnath, a little bit about Bhaji, Harbhajan Singh, a critical bowler for India. Today again, 10 overs, 50 runs, no wickets. He was flighting the ball a little more. But has he found his rhythm back to be an effective contributor in the Indian team now?
Well, at times you go through a lean patch, and he is definitely going through a lean patch.
How long can the lean patch be at the World Cup?
Yeah. No, not what I'm trying to say is in the past he has been bowling well, not amongst the wicket, but not giving away too many runs. But in today's game, he was a little expensive, understandably. There was a pressure on him. Ashwin was bowling well. A lot is expected from the strike bowler. but he is definitely low in confidence. A bowler who tries to bowl at the speed of about 95 to 100 ks, that shows that he doesn't want to toss the ball up. Unless and until you toss the ball up, you will not get the turn from the pitch, and this is what we have seen. Harbhajan, a big turner of the ball, a big tormentor of the right-hand batsman. Here he's been totally unsuccessful. A bowler who does not have confidence in himself has been bowled in small spells, whereas he's supposed to be coming at the time when the batsmen are calling shots. No, he's not been. He's losing confidence, and somebody has to talk to him. Coach, your physio, there's something wrong with him somewhere. Mentally he's not as tough as he used to be, and I think the earlier he gets back into his rhythm, it's going to be good for the Indian team.
Well, indeed, Harbhajan struggling with his form, a few struggles in his personal life too. Whatever it is, he needs to find his form, because India will have, I tell you, quite a match on their hands when they take on Pakistan in the semi-finals of the World Cup in Mohali. That will be a match where all the Indians, the batsmen, the fielders, the bowlers, will have to come out with, as they say, their A game. Baji has a couple of days to think about finding his form back. That was the Australian batting and the Indian bowling that we discussed. Let's get to innings 2 now. The Indians in the locker room, 260 runs put on by Australia. At that point, the strategy, the thinking of MS Dhoni for his team, what perhaps was the discussion that went on in the locker room at that point? 260, Dhoni and his men, Mr. Khanna.
Well, a good start. It's not a wicket where the ball is really flying. And Australians have a strength in fast bowling, and a good start from Tendulkar, the man in form, and Virendra Sehwag, who normally goes about hitting the fast bowlers out of the attack, and they must have said, let's get a good solid start, not lose too many wickets, and it's not a score where you are needing about 8 or 10 runs and over, and they started off pretty well on the Australian pattern. That Tendulkar was his usual self, and a bit streaky edge to get his 50. He looked in total control of the situation, had so much time to play shots all around the wicket, whether it was Brett Lee, man bowling like a champion in the World Cup, or Sean Tate, who was bowling at 150 plus at times, you know. He had all the shots in the cricketing book to handle both the fast bowlers, who are a lethal pair in international cricket, you know. 58 runs of 68 balls, 7 boundaries, and when he looked set to get his 100th century, you know, he got out, you know. He was batting so well. Nobody probably thought that he'll get out like that, but that's part of cricket, you know. By the time, he had given a very good platform to the Indian middle order to go about the job. Our wickets also fell like Australian. They got their first, we got their first wicket at 40, they got ours at 44 when Sehwag got out. Second, Tendulkar got out for 90 odd, and then third wicket for 143, whereas they got their second wicket, lost their second wicket for 110 and third for 140, and then 5 wickets down for 190. Indians were 5 down for 187. They got a partnership of 55. We had an unbroken partnership of 76 runs, you know. Exactly, so it was a very similar pattern. Probably our batsmen understood how to go about the job on the wicket, you know. You can't really throw your bat, and they learned from Tendulkar how to just stick around, wait for the bat delivery, and dispatch it technically rather than hitting across the line or hitting over the top.
Well, indeed, you know, a couple of hallmarks of this Indian batting. When you send out Sachin Tendulkar as well as Virendra Sehwag, you know that run rate is not an issue, and that's what they did. They attacked the Australian batting from the get-go today, going for their boundaries. The first couple of balls that Tendulkar faced under pressure, it could have been his last World Cup match, flowing. And if we just talk just a little more about Sachin's innings and your perspective, Mr. Amarnath, what I saw today is specifically Sachin didn't look in any trouble till the point that he got out. The ease with which he had his strokes play in an intensely high pressure match was quite outstanding.
Well, he used the word under pressure. Sachin under pressure, no. He was never under pressure, and he will never be under pressure. Such a great player, to even think that he's going to be under pressure, I think it was going to be a wrong statement to give. But yes, he's been a model. He's been a model for thousands and thousands of young cricketers who want to emulate him. And India definitely had the advantage of having him amongst the ranks, because Sachin opening the inning with Sehwag, that is a very potent combination. It can destroy any attack, and we have seen number of times either of the two is always there in the middle to give